Welcome to this week's video, and today I'm going to explain why physical activity is important for fat loss and also building up your metabolism. Let's get straight into it. To set up this video, you first need to understand how we burn our calories throughout the day, and we do that through 4 ways. The first way is your BMR, which stands for your basal metabolic rate. And that's ultimately how many calories you burnt if you just lay on the couch all day and didn't move, or if you're in hospital and you're in a coma and you just lay there for 24 hours, didn't do anything. That's how many calories you burnt throughout that day. Your basal metabolic rate. What your body has to do just to get through the day without supporting any of your movement. The second way is your NEAT levels, your non-planned exercise activity thermogenesis. And this is responsible for about 15 to 20% of how many calories we burn throughout the day. Our BMR is 60%, the largest proponent of how many calories we burn throughout the day. Your NEAT levels is everything you do that's non-planned, your non-planned exercise. It could be your hand movements when you're talking like I do, or if you sit down and tap your leg when you're sitting at the dinner table, or you twiddle your thumbs when you're talking. Maybe it's the walking you do when you're doing your dishes, doing the vacuum cleaning, just moving about around the house and the office. It's that type of physical activity throughout the day. The third way that we burn calories is our TEF, or thermic effect of food. And that's responsible for about 5 to 10% of the calories that we burn. And that's ultimately just how many calories we burn when we're eating. The fourth way is our exercise activity thermogenesis, and this is our planned workouts, and that's only about 5 to 10% of our calories that we burn throughout the day. Now you know how we burn calories throughout the day, and as you can see, our basal metabolic rate is the largest proponent, and that's made up of our height, our age, our sex, and our weight. So this is ultimately predetermined. We can't really change it that much unless we gain a lot of weight or lose a lot of weight. Because if we are a bigger person, we have a bigger basal metabolic rate. If we're a smaller person, we have a smaller rate. But ultimately, our physical activity is made up of our NEAT levels and our EAT levels. So our non-planned exercise and our planned exercise. And this makes up around 20 to 30% of how many calories we burn. But when we look at basal metabolic rate, how it's already pretty much predetermined, if we take that 60% away, of the 40% that's left of the calories that we burn throughout the day, our physical activity makes up 30% of that. It's 3/4 of what we can control in relation to how many calories we burn throughout the day. And this is why physical activity is super important for weight loss. We can't change our basal metabolic rate, but we can change our physical activity level, which is why 10,000 steps is such a great target for people, because it increases their physical activity. If people go from 6,000 steps to 10,000 steps, you've added 28,000 steps throughout the week. That's a big increase in calorie expenditure and 3/4 of what we can control in terms of how many calories we burn throughout the day. And this is why when people are trying to lose fat in Team Brock Ashby that I coach, I can periodize people's steps to help them be more active. So for 4 weeks, they could be on 2,000 calories and 10,000 steps. And then for the next 4 weeks, they could be on 2,000 calories and 15,000 steps. And that way, they're still going to continue to drop body fat. We don't always have to eat less. And this is why physical activity is super important for fat loss, and it's often not talked about. It's just like, eat 800 calories, you eat 1,200 calories, eat 1,500 calories, or don't eat the whole day and just have one meal. These are strategies, but they often don't have to be so extreme, which is what I believe in. I don't believe we need to do crazy 800 calorie diets, because yes, you will lose weight, but as I talked about in a previous video, why people hit fat loss plateaus, they go too low with their calories too early, and then they hit a plateau and just sit there, and then they have to go back to maintenance and reset their metabolism. If you can just increase your physical activity, often you can keep your nutrition the same, but you just increase the amount of walking that you do, or maybe you increase the amount of workouts that you do from 4 per week to 5 per week. We can preserve the amount of calories that we eat, but we just increase our physical activity. Also, there's a lot of research that supports dieting alone is not as effective for weight loss when combined with exercise. Simply put, diet for weight loss is okay, but diet plus exercise is better for weight loss for long-term sustainability. Lastly, why is physical activity important for your metabolism? Now, as we've seen here, this is ultimately our calories out. If we increase the amount of calories out that we have per day, or the amount of calories that we burn, we can increase the amount of calories in that we consume. If we have a higher level of calories out, that means that we can support it with more calories in, which is going to result in a stronger metabolism. And if you wanted to take that metabolism even further, with your workouts that you're doing, you could resistance train, you could lift weights, you could progressively overload, because that's going to build and preserve your muscle mass. And when you have more muscle mass is more metabolically active than fat mass, which means muscles burn more calories than fat, which means your metabolism is stronger if you're muscular than if you weren't muscular but you were the same weight. So if you want a strong metabolism and you want to eat a lot of food, which is what I want to do and what most of you probably want to do, lifting weights is a great way to do that. Maintaining weight at 2,000 calories per day is fine, but if you maintain your weight at 2,500 calories, it's much better, because that's pretty much an extra meal per day. So you can have more food throughout the day so you feel less deprived and you still don't gain weight because you've increased your physical activity. That's it from me, guys. I hope this video helped you to understand the importance of physical activity and what role it plays in weight loss and also in building your metabolism. If you have any videos that you want me to make, please put them in the comments. I do read them, I do reply to them, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.